Hello, Thirstaholics. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional, where today we're going to be talking networking with Julie Taylor. Go grab a bevvy. We'll be back in a minute.
Welcome to the space where truth is poured. No corporate scripts, just tales explored. From passion quest to purpose found, the thirsty professional breaks new ground. So fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional. I don't know if you guys noticed, I got a new cup here. If you were a Ted Lasso fan, got my Believe cup here, got that for Christmas. This is a place where we grab a bevy, we ditch the BS, and we get real about careers, purpose, and passion. I am your host, Beth Ann Campbell. I am a former corporate queen, now a full-time author and podcaster. Author of the award-winning Where the Hell is My Bacon for You corporate folks, and they recently released my first novel, R.I.P. Files, Case of the Demon Drums, paranormal mystery, not too scary, kind of funny, snarky, and inspired by a real case that I worked as a paranormal investigator. If you're watching live, let us know you're here in the comments, where you're from, most importantly, what are you drinking? If you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay, and of course, make sure to let us know if you have any questions or feedback so we can address during the live stream. All right, I'm going to bring out my guest here while I do the intro. Let me get her turned back on. Julie is coming in. So today, my very special guest on the Thirsty Professional is Julie Taylor. Julie is the queen bee behind Buzz Business Networking. Buzz Business Networking. I love it. What is that called? Is that called onomatopoeia? Anyway, probably not. Which is a community of solo business owners who ditch isolation, they cut the fluff, and actually get shit done. Oh, how I love that. Julie is an accountability coach and collab queen who is all about showing up as your real self, owning your purpose, and making social media work for you. If it's raw, honest, and useful, she's in. Yes, speaking my language. She's a badass too, so you know I love that. Please welcome Julie Taylor. Julie, welcome to the Thirsty Professional.
Thank you so much. I was jigging away in the background and smiling. So many familiar people on there.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, I put that little thing together. One of my guests, Lion Flood, created that music for me, and it was just awesome. Folks, if you are seeing a little bit of a delay, it's just technology, so just bear with us. Maybe you can just close your eyes and just listen, because I think the audio is real good, but we do have occasionally a little delay here. Julie, my first question, of course, to everybody is always, what are you drinking today?
So I'm on the Earl Grey tea. It's in the afternoon.
Oh, yes. So nothing super caffeinated. Yeah. Do you find that if you drink caffeine, does the tea ruin your sleep cycle at all?
I don't know. I mean, if I've got late afternoon meetings or I'm going out for the evening, I'm still on the Joe. But it's Friday, so it's time to just like ease into that weekend. So yeah, I'm definitely Earl Grey. I'm common though. I've got milk in there. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You know what? I say coffee, but really, I almost don't want to admit this sometimes, but I buy very expensive coffee because I like freshly roasted beans and sourced around the world. But then I throw cocoa and cream in it, and sometimes some other stuff to kind of mask the flavor of the coffee. So I know it doesn't make sense. I should just buy the cheap stuff and let it go. But so let me talk to me a little bit before we jump into, what you do and talking about networking, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. You're a Brit living in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people, some whom you know, Louisa Stewart, who you worked at Blue Ninja for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in the Netherlands. What do you love about the Netherlands? If I'm going to the Netherlands, what's my thing that I need to know? Why is it so great? Because you told me you made a conscious choice after, I think you moved there with your husband. We'll talk about that,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to stay, but you chose to stay. So what prompted you to stay?
Yeah, what do I love? It's so easy to get around. Public transport actually works. And I was actually traveling to a networking event with an American on Wednesday evening, and it was bitter cold. It really was. And she's like, "Should we get an Uber?" I was just like, "No, we get in the train and the underground. It's all good." Yeah. What else? Just feel safe as well. Don't get me wrong, we've got big cities and there's still like sea areas in cities, but in general, I feel really safe here. Um, and yeah, what can I say? Lots of outdoor seating areas, always somewhere nice to just like sit and chill. So yeah.
Nice. Well, so now, having myself just gone through a snow and ice mageddon event where we're still literally chipping out.
Yeah.
What is for the Netherlands? What is your biggest weather risk there? Because I think about this stuff as I get close to retirement. I like, where could I go? No hurricanes, no fires, no earthquakes. What is your biggest risk if I'm in the Netherlands? What's the worst thing I have to worry about weather-wise?
Now you've mentioned age. Now I'm thinking of like slippery roads while you're on your bike because you don't want to break a hip.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that's not a
That's true,
thing.
and you have a lot of bikers. It's you. Netherlands is a big biking. Some of your cities are like
Definitely.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I took up cycling again. I mean, it's sort of thing I did as a kid. And yeah, you got to go with the pack or not. And I get it. Some people it's just not for them, but yeah, you really got to go for it. So weather things, yeah, just have the right clothing because they have
yeah.
a saying, "You're not made of sugar." So that means basically that you're not if you go out in the rain, you're going to get wet, so just wear the right clothes.
That is such good advice. I was born and raised in the state of Michigan in the north, so winter's very cold, and usually a lot of snow. But now I'm in Virginia, which is in the south. It's in the high south. It's not deep south, but yeah, I keep shorts out all year round. In the summertime, I always have a pair of long leggings because it's just you never know it's going to be because I mean right now it's below freezing and it's dipping even lower. But we could have easily in a couple weeks we could be like almost summer like weather. That's just what it does here. So you never really put anything away here. But I am going to jump in over to our comments because we got a lot of comments coming in. We got Hale Hushim. Hello, Hale. Nice to see you here. Louise Sverud. Louise, former guest on the show. Louise, so good to see you here. Doris Walsh, regular and also former and future guest. She's been going to be coming up in a couple months here. Hey, Beth with the sparkly. She's here with the sparkly water. Awesome. Stella Scott, again, a former guest on the show and great supporter. Hello, hello, hello back to you, Stella Scott. Hale says, Julie, you are amazing. True. Of course you are. Love the music. Thank you. Lion Flood, I created that here. Nancy Dalton here. Nancy, I don't know if I know you super well, but hopefully you know Julie. You must know her because you said you are the best, Julie.
Money's in the post.
Hale is in 7 a.m. That's early, early. And Hale says you can make it tasty and healthy. You're probably talking about my coffee, and yeah, I mean, it's a weird. I feel weird about saying that I spend so much money on coffee and then I put stuff in it. I know the true coffee people are probably just, rolling over in their whatever their sleep or their graves. Diane is from Charlottesville. Diane is a friend of mine from Charlottesville. She just lives a bit away. Speaking of coffee, she is my coffee partner. So, hey, Diane, nice to see you here. Okay, Julie, we're going to jump right into you now because I always start off with let's tell our audience what do you do, who you serve, and then give me a little bit about where the passion is for what you do because that's what we're here for. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I never planned to be a business owner. So I have found networking through COVID, through a UK group that I collaborate with as well. And so I bring solo business owners together. We learn. It's all about bite-sized learning. So we always have an expert, but not feeling overwhelmed because there's so many courses. You can buy books and watch things on YouTube. For me, it's about taking some action every day. So there's an element of accountability in our community. I serve solo business owners generally. They tend to be expats, internationals, a hell of a lot of lovely Americans moving here because it's so easy to get here on a particular visa. So yeah, we get together. I also run a Facebook community, but it's just for people here in the Netherlands. And I think we're going to hit 2,300 people in that
Wow,
community. Yeah.
that's a lot.
And, some people have found their very first client in that group. Some people have found somebody to hang out and have coffee with, a bit of accountability, and just generally check in and go, why is this thing so hard? And it was like, that thing is so hard. Have you tried this? So this is the thing of just going out and asking for help, and you never know, somebody might have the answer.
So you kind of combine networking with learning.
Mm, yeah.
That's awesome. And I think, I guess inherently, you learn things when you go to networking, but you sort of do it strategically. I love that you're with your bite-sized learning. So let me ask you this, because I know you have a corporate background back in the day, right? You worked in the banking world, technical stuff, right? You sound like a lot like me, project management and that kind of thing. So when you tell us about like the journey of you moving to the Netherlands and why did you not go back to, I mean, I know why I wouldn't, but any corporate
Yeah.
person who's got out, but why did you not at that point, when you talked about being an accidental entrepreneur, what was it in your head that made you think, yeah, I'm not going to go back to that. I'm going to do something different.
Yeah, I mean, you said technical, but even while I was in banking, it was all about the people. Because when I worked in a project role, I was just like, yeah, but do the people understand it? So people's always been a bit of a center of the thing. So yeah, so we moved to the Netherlands to support my husband's career, and I just thought I could go work for a bank. There's a lot of English speaking jobs here, and I thought that's a little bit too easy. And I don't always like an easy life. Otherwise, I'd be back living in my hometown doing what other people that I went to school with doing. Yeah. So I met my business partner quite quickly through Facebook, and off we went on this ride of let's see what this is all about, entrepreneurship, and there's a lot to learn. And if you don't like uncertainty, and if you like every day to be the same, don't really think it's going to be for you. You can go try it, but it's a challenge, and you need energy, and you need to be ready for those knockbacks as well. So yeah, definitely starting out on your own as well is you need help. I don't have all the technical skills, but you have to try a bit of everything. You really do. Until you know which bits are for you, which bits you're just like, I could read a book and I will never understand what this is. So yeah, it's a challenge, but it's whether you're up for the challenge.
Do you miss anything about corporate life?
Probably the regular hours and the regular paycheck. But apart from that, I mean, it's just like just before we had this session, I managed to take the dog out. Well, it's not too cold and still light, and there's not fixed hours. So yeah, I might dabble a little bit on the weekend and just catch up on a little bit of admin, but that's my choice. Nobody's making me do that. So I think I'm actually unemployable now. I've got too many opinions. I call it continuous improvement.
Did you, when you were in corporate, did you feel like any of the stress that a lot of people, myself included, had dealt with? Just overwhelm, chaos. You're always getting, you seem like you are a super smart person, and sometimes those A players get dumped on with, oh, somebody's leaving. We'll just give all that work to Julie. Did you feel any kind of like stress, chronic stress?
Yeah, I mean, I've been made redundant 3 times, and the last one was during the banking crisis in 2008. If everybody on this call is old enough to remember that, I'm sure they are. Is I think the each one you learn something from. Don't get me wrong, the first one really hurts, and I know somebody that's going through it just now, and I said, do you know, you probably don't want to hear this today, but sometimes it's the push you never gave yourself and the opportunities. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I can say for me, that's what it felt like after 23 years. And I had been working on side gigs, writing, podcasting, all kinds of things, and really, really wanted to leave. But it's really hard to leave that paycheck and with that perception of stability. But when it finally happened, and I did go through like a few months of panic, like because I was the primary breadwinner of the house. I mean, I was making 2/3 of our household income. But after I made the decision, I remember the very specific moment where I said, okay, I'm just not going back, because it made me sick to my stomach to think about going back. And it was, I look at it as like a thank you, universe, for pushing me out where I didn't have the courage to do it. I might still be working in corporate today if I had not been made redundant. So I look at it as a blessing in disguise, I guess. And I know it doesn't feel like
Definitely.
it when it's happening,
Yeah, I
but
mean, when I first met my husband, because I met him at the bank, he wanted to travel. I'd already traveled a little bit, so I was like, "I'm good, you go do your thing, and we'll see where we are." And he didn't actually go, so I think we always had aspirations to move abroad, but sometimes things, yeah, it's great to plan and have goals and things like that, but sometimes if you just take the opportunities as they come, and and we both been made redundant from the bank, and we were just like, if that never happened, we wouldn't be where we are now. So I don't see it as a negative thing. And actually, after I got made redundant, I went to be a day rate contractor, or that was a dog eat dog market. So it was like sink or swim, and it was like people were saying, you go in when you're sick, you don't take
yeah,
holiday.
yeah,
And it could have been a really stressful environment. And actually, when you say about, sort of, do people dump work on you? Well, they tried. One of my colleagues was like, oh, I don't have that email. Do you have that email? I was like, no. And it was like, I am a bit of an email hoarder. And it's just like, you own your stuff. You've been sent the thing to do. I don't work for you. So, if you want some help, ask for help. But apart from that, I'm not your little admin woman. So just
right. Well, and for me, when I was in corporate, when I would get that feeling, or even do have that reaction, it was really hard because I wanted to be helpful, but I was so overwhelmed that sometimes I would just, and that's the chronic stress. I mean, when I decided to not go back to corporate, I that was the moment that I realized how much stress I really had been
mm,
under, and I had no idea how bad it was until I got out and decided to not go back. I knew I was under stress. I'm a self-aware person. I had no idea. No idea. So now you're an entrepreneur. So tell me, what's the best thing, before we dive into maybe some of the specifics? What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur for you?
I'd probably say that I get to choose. Don't get me wrong, it can be decision overwhelm, but I
Yeah.
get to choose. You're always going to have about 100 things on your to-do list. So you get to choose which one you feel like doing that day. There's the shoulds, but also, if you're just not feeling, like doing a particular task, does it need to be done today? No, let's put it
Yeah.
on till tomorrow. And I don't mean just push it away, else it shouldn't really be on the to-do list. So and choosing your hours, and yeah, and choosing who you work with and who you hang out with.
Yeah. I love that. And the whole this whole concept of having the choice, the flexibility. Now I know, I say this with all respect, because I'm in a position where my husband has a job, I have a small pension, so I'm not in a position where I feel compelled, like I have to have all this money coming in. And some people do, a lot of people do. This is, important. But there are times it's so nice to not have like a boss and then another director and then 10 people like following up with 10 different things that are all emergencies but not really emergencies, and having the flexibility to say, you know what, I know I'm an author, but I don't feel like writing today. I really need to, I feel more like I need to address this, or whatever it is. So you have responsibilities, I have appointments and calls, but I'm not like constantly, I mean, my calendar in corporate was ugly, insane. It was ugly. over like triple and quadruple booked. It was so bad. So I love the flexibility as well. Popping in here to some comments here just to catch up. Hale says she invests money in her coffee too, and we need to or we'll get mold and toxins. Yep. I mean, I wish I could say that that's why I do it. I do it because it just smells. If you ever open a bag of fresh ground, well-sourced coffee, like small farmers around the world, it's just, and then you open it like something that you buy from the supermarket that's, maybe 3 months old. It's just, it's different. So different. Nancy is telling me that I don't need to explain my coffee mixture issues. She can just do me. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. And then Hale says, I relate with the corporate background, loving this. Never in my wildest dream, I thought it would be entrepreneur full-time, LOL. I know, right? It's just, I can't imagine going back. I mean, obviously, if we couldn't pay the bills but man, Doris Walsh says, I would also agree with that, Julie. I'm no longer employable either. That's like a whole panel of, because I know so many corporate people, former corporate people. And I mean, so what do we mean when we say I'm not employable? Because for me, that might mean something. For me, I know that part of it is the way I'm an aging woman in the workplace, right? And I don't give a fuck. And I will, if I spoke out before, I'm going to speak out even more. And I'm experienced, so I'm expensive. But what does that mean to you, Julie, that you're unemployable, not employable in a traditional?
I agree what you say. I think it's that sort of don't give a F about certain things. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to put up with shit. And I don't mean have an argument at work every day, because sometimes you just have to watch the train run off the tracks, which sounds awful. That sounds bloody awful. I don't mean that. I just mean when somebody's just...
But it's true.
But when somebody's just so full of bluff and bluster and all this stuff, I'm like, all right then, go on.
Just grab your popcorn and watch it.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just like, but you let him know if you need any help with that. And I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but we've got so much experience between the two of us that we're just like, we sort of might have been there and seen it. And and also I hear now that people are saying they're employing the young ones because they just talk. And I'm just like, but test that talk and give them a challenge. And so, I mean, a great bit of advice that was actually given to one of my husband's one of his previous bosses was, you don't have to turn up to every argument. So I think silence says a lot. These people, just like, okay. And panic. People that just panic about everything. I did have a previous client in my previous business, and it was just like, I'm sorry, we can't have a drama every day. We don't work for the fire department. It's just like, everybody calm down. So I think that's the thing, is we've got a bit more calm in our lives now, Beth Ann, because we get to choose what we're going to get really excited and really upset about. And I'm not having a drama a day, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have 100% agree. I feel like for me, it's also, even though I consider myself always having been a pretty confident person, and I always did speak out at work. I mean, I wrote 2 corporate books while I was in corporate, but I just feel like, I'm in a different level right now of confidence. And the irony for me is that I think so many businesses, so many corporations, big businesses really need people like us. They would do so well to listen to the experience, and yet, because we're women, because we're older, we're not, 30 anymore. And because we're, of course, our paychecks have gotten too high for them to stomach giving to a speaker outer woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s. So we get kind of shoved aside, I think, a lot of us. But you know what? Hey, one person's trash is another's treasure. So that's why I write books.
We're treasures. That's what we are.
That's right. Hale says that constant income and good pay challenge extremely. Yeah, it was really hard for me to give up. Denise Segler, I hope I'm saying this right. Denise Segler, yes, I might not be on this path if my team had not been laid off. I know so many people who have the same, you know what? I wanted to leave. I didn't have the courage, or the paycheck was, or I was scared or whatever. And then something pushed me out, and here I am. So, great.
And that's one of the things that, sorry, go on. I was going to say that, nobody ever lays on the deathbed and say, oh, I wish I'd sent some more emails. Do they?
No, I wish I had had another spreadsheet.
Oh,
I wish I had been in a meeting one more time with my boss,
Yes.
telling him what's going to happen and seeing it happen and him being ignored. Yes, no,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
So, Hale says she agrees with Doris. The universe needs our voices for our purpose. Yes. And after COVID, we are in a different portal. Yeah, well, but in the corporate world too, COVID, we could do a whole show on, the COVID of how many companies said, oh my God, it's COVID. Yes, go home and work. And it worked wonderfully. And they said, and then now there's no COVID. And they said, no, we can't because you're not productive. Well, anyway. Stella says, if you had stayed, we got a lot of comments coming in today. I love it. Stella says, had you stayed in corporate, we wouldn't have met. Oh, the horror, truth. Louise, another accidental entrepreneur here. Yes, exactly. There's so many of us. We need a club. Maybe we start a club. Hale says, yeah, the chain of commands. So agree, Beth. You're in control of your life and not slaving as an entrepreneur. Yes. Doris, best thing about entrepreneurship is the freedom to express myself, to do things how I want to, not answering to anyone but myself, work when I want to. Yes. And we get a hallelujah there. Diane S. Reframing is powerful. Yes, it is. It makes us feel good too. Louise, don't get me started on coffee. Spain coffee is great in cafes, but from supermarket, almost all coffee are mixed with sugar. Interesting. Hale says would love for us to do a corporate panel. All right, I'm writing down the idea. That's a great idea. The former corporate queens come together and talk about how great it is to not.
What would you make corporate people listen to that and watch that?
I think both. I think when you're talking about people who have lived in both worlds, yeah, absolutely. And I have corporate folks. Well, look, I'm coming up to Mike Goggin, who is my worked for me, and then I worked for him, and we were in several companies together, and he's still in corporate. So I think plus I think there are a lot of corporate people who are like us and like I was when I was in corporate, thinking about what else is out there, because it's just such a rat race. But great idea, Hale. I'm giving that serious thought. Nancy, oh no, I can never work in an office again more than 4 hours at the computer, right? I used to have 4 of them. I have my 2 big monitors that I use right now, and then I had 2 other big monitors for work. So Mike Goggin, always good to see you. Good morning. And he says, I agree, confidence is the key to dealing with the drama. Giving NMFs. I don't know what NMFs is.
I know what it is. No
what
more
is it?
fucks.
Oh, no more fucks. Yes. Thank you.
The corporate gentlemen's the one doing the swearies. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a lot of sweary people on here. Nancy says, oh my God, I always say that no one's on their deathbed when they filled in more Excel sheets.
Probably not.
And Louise says, don't mock a good spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets. Louise, I do everything in spreadsheets. I plan my books in spreadsheets, and I'm out on these writer forums, and people are going, what do you use to organize all your book? If you're writing a novel, and I feel so embarrassed to say, but I do. I use a spreadsheet. That's what I use. So I'm not in one of these, although I've used them. I've used the fancy ones. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about networking. So that's kind of what you do. You do, Julie, a lot of in-person, but also online networking. You orchestrate events. Which one, can I ask you this very personal question? Which one do you prefer?
I don't know which one I do prefer. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. What is your biggest pet peeve for online networking events?
Well, they don't necessarily happen at my events, but in general, and it can be in person as well, people taking all the oxygen out of the room. They think it's a competition to do all the talking, and we know that old adage, you got 2 ears for a reason, but it's about listening to other people and asking questions, and sometimes even when I go networking, I ask the person lots of questions, and they go, oh, but I wasn't looking at the time, and we haven't got any time. And I was just like, it's okay, because I was just thinking, And I've actually been on Zoom breakouts during COVID, and I think I had to keep moving because I thought the person thought I'd frozen, and they were just talking. And I messaged the group leader and I said, people need to watch the time and have a conversation. And they never came back to me, and I was like, oh, maybe not going to that one again. I love to see the light bulb goes on in somebody's eyes, especially if they're really not sure about, and they're like at the beginning of their business journey, and they're like, but I don't know what it is yet. And I was just like, well, just tell people that. And people will really get invested and really help you shape it. So it's that excitement. It's like kids together sometimes are like, oh, but you could do this and we could do this. Do you want to do this? Should we go to that? And it's just like, okay.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't know anybody who attends networking events in person. Usually this is an online thing. I think more so. I know it happens in person, but where people just talk and talk and talk. I love what you said about asking questions, because I do the same thing. Sometimes I'm interested and I want to hear more. So maybe I'm in a one-on-one or a breakout room and I'm asking questions, and then I haven't introduced myself yet. So I get down to like the last 30. That's okay. That's on me. But there are other people that just on and on and on and on and on, and they never once look at the timer that's, usually right there. And then all of a sudden it's okay, bye. We've got two other people here, but it's okay. And yeah, I love the dynamic that you talked about on the positive side. I was just in a networking call Wednesday, and there were three. So it was one-on-ones and then a couple of group breakouts. And in three one-on-ones, I got these three young women, probably in their late 20s, maybe early 30s. And of course, my first instinct is, oh my God, I'm, the old person here. Do we have anything in common? But they were like so energetic and lively and interested and listening. And I was, and just really excited about what they were doing, and eager to learn from other people. So I love that. I love that kind of energy. What do you think about what is the dynamic difference in when you're doing an online event versus an in-person event?
I would say online is definitely, when I'm managing an event, is that, again, somebody doesn't take over. There's no dominant person in the room. But also it is about confidence. And unfortunately, gone are the days, excuse me, of camera off. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You're not going to sit in an in-person session with a bag on your head.
Yeah.
That's a different type of networking for some other country.
Can you imagine if somebody was there? Like, I'm just
exactly. And there's some real bystanders as well, and because I run some free sessions which are brainstorming sessions, and people have said to me, "Can I come along and observe?" And I said, "No, I'm afraid not," because we're going to throw you in the dragon's den, lion's den. There might be some dragons in there as well. You never know. Gonna get burnt to a crisp. But even if you're not sure, we're like, oh, I haven't started yet. I was like, tell us what you're passionate about. We'll help you. But if you, I don't know, it's just so weird. You don't go and play tennis and then just stand at the back, wafting your racket around. I'm not really playing, but I'm watching. And it's just like, no, I'm sorry. So I am going to give people a bit of a gentle prod and push them forward. And unfortunately, you're going to have to learn to talk about your business.
Yeah.
And people think it's showing off, but it's not. You're a service provider, or you provide a product. So you're there. It's marketing, is networking, but it's in a relationship way, not a transactional way, hopefully.
Yeah, I love that. And, as somebody who's attended a lot of corporate conferences, it was intimidating at first too, but now as an older experienced person, what you said earlier about sometimes you have to ask questions, you can get yourself out there without being in the awkward position of, okay, I need to talk about myself, by asking people about what they do, because automatically that just a lot of times comes around to what you do as well. But now you've kind of made yourself into this, the person who's listening, who's really paying attention, and, oh, you seem confident, even if you don't feel confident. You don't necessarily even have to start off talking about yourself. You can talk about other people, and they love that, and they're gonna remember you.
Definitely.
Are you talk about sometimes there's not a dominant person in the room? Are you the one that sometimes has to step in and get shit going?
Yeah, definitely. I do have to warm them up sometimes because you do sort of think, what did you come along for? Especially the brainstorming sessions, because it is about, we do a round of introductions in a real casual way. And then I'll say, what's the thing that you're struggling with and you can't quite finish, or that you can't make sense of the offering. And especially, I think when we start beginning of the year or beginning of the month, what's your burning issue? They'll go, it's about 3 things on fire right now. Which one I'm going to choose? So I'll like challenge them with something I think's a challenge, or share something that went wrong for me. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm really stuck with this. And yeah, it just needs somebody to start them off. But the conversation can then just go anywhere. I mean, sometimes you go from business to microdosing to all sorts of things.
Oh my God.
Honestly, we are in the Netherlands, though. Remember that.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. Well, even here in the States, yeah, that could be a topic
yes,
of,
of course.
what gummy are you taking? What's your favorite gummy? I love it. I
So,
love it.
you just need to get people warmed up, because and people that leave, and you check in with them and they say, well, I didn't get a client, whether it's a paid event, structured, or whether just a conversational event. Well, I didn't get a client. And I was just like, have you followed up with anybody? And it was just like, I heard somebody say that they really want your help. Oh, I didn't hear that. And it was just like, no, because you were really focused on what you were saying, so you weren't listening. So it's really listening skills in networking. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. And I love the comment about following up too, because I know so many people who go and who've said the same things, like, well, it just, I don't, well, did you even connect with somebody on LinkedIn who was there? Did you write somebody's name
Done.
down that you were talking to? And
Done. I've had 2 situations in the last 2 weeks where people have said to me, I need this particular connection. And I said, actually, I do know that person. They went, oh, module connected. And I was like, you people are a bit more choosy. Some aren't. Some are just collecting people like football cards we used to have when we were kids. But some people are really quite choosy about who they connect to on LinkedIn. So therefore, there's your opportunity. So you follow up with oh, it's great to meet you at the so-and-so event. Or even if I didn't quite get to meet you there, but I wanted to.
yeah,
What did you think of the speaker? I found this article. I thought this was in your industry. It looks quite interesting. Do you want to get a coffee chat sometime? Any of these things, we're not going straight in for the hard sell, but also we're not having the longest conversation in history either. I have had one Dutch person said, what do you want? When I've gone there, oh, how did you start at the beginning of the year? That was a few years ago. Is there something you're after? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll get to the point.
well, I'm sure that some people are probably worried, especially in this day and age, too, about, and I would say that would be one thing not to do, is to follow up with somebody that you met and then immediately send them your canned um, pitch in their DMs, saying
Yeah.
maybe cultivate that relationship first, but that people are probably a little gun shy about that's what's going to happen. So I can see how people would ask, like, what are you? Because I do when people connect with me on LinkedIn, sometimes I go, what are you going to pitch me now? In like 10 minutes, I'm going to get a cold pitch from you.
Yeah, we were talking about this at an event last night and saying, if people try and connect to me on LinkedIn and we've got either no mutual contacts or the mutual contacts I really don't know, which shouldn't be the case, but there's about 5,000 people on my LinkedIn, it's not happening. And also, if I just look at the industry, and when you get the cold outreach and it's just like, just want to speak to your tech department, and be like, good luck with that, because there ain't one.
I am
And
the tech part.
I am. And C-suite roles, and it was like, yeah, definitely, I could do all the C-suite roles in one day. So yeah,
When we talked back last year, you told me about this wow how now
you remember
format.
that? Wow.
Yeah. Do you still use that? Tell me what is that?
Yeah. So I help people frame their introduction in my in-person sessions. They're also timed as well, because a lot of my members are neurodivergent. So God bless them, once they start, We might get to hear everything about them and their childhood pet. So we don't unfortunately have all that time. So we go through the wow is tell us a story or a stat. Or so, if you're planning a business, what you are hoping the outcome to be, how you do it, and now what the issue is, how you resolve the issue. Because if you think about situations where you go, hi, I'm Bob, I'm an accountant, like, got an accountant, switch off. Whereas if Bob started with, hi, I can save you 1,500 euros this month, and you'd be like, where have you been all my life? So
Marry me.
Bob, what else can you do? And
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's about talking about the transformation. And it's the same when people get stuck into their websites. I'm like, I've got all this experience, and I'm just like, what is it? What does he do? What are we here for? So it's just like, get to the point. Tell us something scary. Tell us how you fix things. Because that's about keeping people's attentions and being remembered for something.
I love that. Memorability versus visibility. You need to be visible, but if you're not memorable,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna be coming back to you. I love your directness, Julie. And somebody commented here. Who was it? Was it
Doris.
Doris? Typical Dutch directness. Doris was born in the Netherlands. So you've had this corporate career. You became an entrepreneur. And I know you probably were always direct and a level of confidence. Do you think that you could have done, or you could do what you do now 20 years ago, 30 years ago? I mean, when you were like,
Yeah.
5.
Probably not, because that's the thing, isn't it? When things go wrong in life, if we didn't go through that journey, if everything had been happy path, then we wouldn't be the people that we are today. Exactly. So all those experiences. And the thing is, I always used to tell myself when I was in my corporate career, you never actually knew which role you were in that you absolutely detested and was bad for you until you'd left it, because it was like being in a cult. You were just like, because you're probably working all the hours because your colleagues were, and it was like this like game of who's going to go home first, because they're going to fail, they're going to lose some points or something. I don't know. So and it's probably like the same with a bad relationship. You don't know how bad it was until you've left. So and I say it quite a bit, and people might think I'm a little bit crazy, is when something goes wrong in business, I laugh. I obviously don't laugh in the face of a client, that we expected something to go right. But I just mean a process falls down, or something really just gets crickets on tumbleweed, because we're so focused on happy path, but there's other realities out there. And if you can't roll with the punches, and sometimes they're good things that go wrong, that stop us in our tracks and just like rein it in a bit, or just go, that wasn't for you, or it wasn't for now, or it wasn't for this industry or this person. And that's absolutely fine. But if we'd never tried and hit that barrier, then we're just really in the safe zone, and we're really not trying or pushing ourselves very hard either.
Shout it from the mountaintops. Discomfort is the herald of opportunity and the gateway to growth. I love, that's another panel. Hale, we're going to do corporate and we'll do a discomfort panel. I love, because, people think, well, especially I see this with people, raising kids and stuff. We are not who we are today with our strength and our confidence and our whatever it is that we love about ourselves, because we avoided discomfort. We are that way because we had discomfort and because we did fail. So I love that you recognize and take that spin, and it's true. All of you youngins out there listening, when you get to be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, it less and less and less. You just don't, when we say we don't give a fuck, it's not that we don't care about things. It's just that we don't let this type of stupid shit that we fretted about but we grew from when we were younger. We just don't, it doesn't even phase us. You're like, okay, whatever. Like you said, you laugh. You just
exactly. And one of my last colleagues, when I did work in corporate, she was some gorgeous young lady, really intelligent and amazing what she did. and I can't even remember the situation. I said, but you know what? I don't actually care. I didn't mean to her, but I wasn't worried about the situation that we
Yeah.
like
Yes.
sells off and moved on. And I did say to her, don't get me wrong, if I'm walking out of the ladies' bathroom with toilet paper on my shoe, I still care about that. I still care if I've got my dinner down my front. And I do want somebody to tell me, or I've got like, grass in my teeth or something like that. Some things I still care about, but generally overthinking and over worrying that maybe I put a kiss on the end of an email to a boss or something like that. That's
You know,
fine too.
I invite anybody to go to a massive, major, multi tens of thousands conference, and then trip on a carpet at a major vendor and spill a large caramel macchiato on their head
Oh,
with a
no,
sheen of
no.
caramel, and then sit in their like Apple beautiful brilliant little space and just continue the conversation.
Do
That will
you
make
know,
you
I,
not really care about anything else. You will just be like, you know
exactly.
what, here I
Do
am.
you know what I always used to do as well when we went to big meetings or big conferences? I'm always the nervous person that has to go to the toilet at the very last minute.
Every
So
20
one minute
minutes.
we're all mingling and having coffee, and I think I'm just going to nip now and come back. They've all gone, and at the back of the auditorium, the doorway, and I'm just like, "There's nowhere to sit. Where are my friends? I can't even sit with my friends." And I'm just
Oh
like,
no.
"Sorry, I'm that person."
Did you walk over? Can I sit on your lap here? Because
Yeah.
all right. I want to go back to the comments, folks. We're going to be wrapping up in just a few minutes. So if you have any final comments or thoughts, put them in there. If we don't get to them, we'll get to them in the comments in LinkedIn or YouTube. And of course, you can always put anything if you think there. But I wanted, we've got so many comments coming in. Hale says, this is about, I believe we were talking about networking and timing, agreeing to respect everyone's time. Also, make sure you follow up when aligned with you to block the time to follow up after networking. Stella says she's been to a lot of offline networking events where someone never asks questions. Most frequently, a man. I'm not going to say that that's. I've been in conferences myself where I've not asked questions. So Hale says, I love in person because I'm a heart to hugger and I love a real authentic feel. I am too, Hale. Julia, would you consider yourself a hugger or no?
I am. They get offered that as well. It's not an additional cost. I am a bit of a hugger.
I am a big hugger, but I also have one of my closest friends is not a hugger. And so I have learned from her that I never assume somebody wants to be
No,
hugged, but
do
you can
ask.
cut. There's kind of a good vibe that you can get from
Yeah.
huggers. But if I'm not sure, I'll say, hey, I'm a hugger, but no pressure. And usually the huggers will be like, yes, and the non-huggers will be like,
Squishy.
sometimes they'll give you a cursory hug there. Stella says Suzanne Evans uses the bang over the head all the time. Good analogy. It is. That is a really good visual of the person who is constantly. I understand. I'm not one of those diehards if people are off camera. If you're in you're not engaging and you've got to go to the bathroom or your kid's crying and you need to go off
Yeah.
camera, that's fine.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you're in a networking event and there's no other reason for you to, it's just
It's just weird.
put yourself out there if you can. Hale says, also, when not in our thoughts and just being, conversations naturally get created. Truth.
Mm.
Stella, the people who don't bother to check out your profile first and never interact with anything you've posted live. Well, we know, Stella, that those are the people that are just looking to pitch you, because I get those all the time and I'll happily take them to up my numbers. But yeah, I just don't reciprocate back either. So this is Louise. She said, I had a cold outreach on LinkedIn today from a Swedish accountant, and he started with saying he had seen on my profile that I ran my own business and he wanted to help with bookkeeping and tax preparation. My reply was, I'm laughing because I know what Louise does. My reply was, did you also see that I'm not running my biz from Sweden? So unless you know the bookkeeping and tax system in Spain, I'm not really interested.
Oops.
I have that happen all of the time where people come in and they go, do you think that we could help you? I could help you save $52,000 a year in your taxes. And I'm like, dude, I would love to just make $52,000 a year as a podcaster and an author. Stella says she gets those all the time from all over the world. What do you know about the Swedish systems? Yep, I get them too. Or real estate people. And I'm like, are you a real estate agent in my state? Because it's probably different. Halle says, Louise, Stella, Doris, Mike, Nancy, Beth, and Julie, loving these communications. Love the feel of it. So engaging. Thank you. Really enjoying this. So agree. Thank you, Beth, for bringing us all divinely together. Thank you, Halle. Appreciate that. And thank you for being here. All right, Julie, before we wrap up, what do you want our listeners to know? What do you have coming up? What's the best way to get in touch with you? And just everybody know, I will put all of Julie's contact information in the comments, both in YouTube and in LinkedIn.
So what I've got coming up is we meet online every week to brainstorm.
Nice.
So I'm sure you're going to share the links, but just look up Buzz Business Networking and come and try the sessions. We've got sessions that happen at morning time here in Europe, but also in the afternoon to pick up the lovely people in North America and other places in the world. So come and be curious and try that. Some people have walked into those sessions virtually and found their very first client. So just show up, have a conversation, be human with all this age of AI. But otherwise, we have guest speaker spots once a month. Next month, coming up in February, we've got a guest speaker that's going to be talking about marketing. She's going to do a plan on the page, a plan for the year in that session. So if you're just thinking marketing, I'll get round to it at some time, or you just throw something out randomly, maybe it's time to get that sorted. So these are really trusted people that I know really well, and I listen to people in my group, help they need, and then I bring along the experts.
Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being a guest on The Thirsty Professional. I love networking. I love talking about networking, and I love especially just talking about your journey and talking in general with no BS people like yourself. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks, next week, February 6th, we are going to take a break so I can celebrate my birthday on the 7th. No, just kidding. Actually, that's just part of my strategy for 2026 is to take some breaks more frequently. But we'll be back on February 13th with my very special guest, Indra Books. So Indra is an organizational strategist, a cultural architect, and founder of AFA, where she helps leaders and teams unlock trust, align fast, deliver results that last. She's known for turning skeptics into champions and leading with a people first, then process philosophy. This is going to be a great show, not only for entrepreneurs, but for corporate royalty as well. So she deals a lot with companies as well. Indra is also a U.S. American living in Spain, so I'm definitely going to ask her about that. I hope you can join live on February 13th. Thank you all again for joining us today. Great audience participation as always, but just extra energetic today. I really appreciate it. Love the energy. If you're out there watching on LinkedIn, please connect if you're not already, both with myself and with Julie Taylor. If you are on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Always appreciated. If you have any questions or feedback that we didn't get to, leave them in the comments, or you can DM one or the other of us. And then congratulate yourself for getting real about your career, your purpose, and your passion. So now, Miss Georgina Featherstone, my new hat here, Julie Taylor, and I are going to bid you a fond farewell. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time.
See you.
So fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.
Well, that was fun.